Call this meeting to order at 7:02, the meeting of Glendora Unified School District Board of Education. We are so excited to see all of your smiling faces out there tonight. It really is nice. Please let the record show that Mr. Corey Ellenson is not here, but the rest of us are present. Now please stand and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. Ready? Begin. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay. Report of action taken in closed session. There is no reportable action this evening. I need a motion to adopt the agenda, please.
So moved.
Second.
It was moved by Mr. Fernando and seconded by Ms. Borg. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay. The agenda is adopted for the evening. I don't think we need to introduce anybody. We're all here. Everybody's up here?
You can see our smiles.
I know, I did say that. We can see their smiles. Okay. So that will be now our board recognition. The Glendora Kiwanis for STEM grants, GHS Wrestler, and PTA Reflections winner. So who wants? Dr. De Leon?
Okay, yes.
At this time, it is my great pleasure to introduce Dr. Kelson, who is going to come to the podium and introduce our wonderful Glendora Kiwanis. This is in honor of our service groups. We've been recognizing a service group at every single board meeting, and so thank you so much. Go ahead, Virginia.
Thank you, Dr. De Leon. Good evening, Board of Trustees, Cabinet colleagues, and esteemed community. It is my pleasure this evening to welcome Mrs. Tricia Gomer to the podium with me, who is here to represent the Glendora Kiwanis. Kiwanis have awarded some grants to Glendora Unified teachers to implement STEAM, or science, technology, engineering, arts, and mathematics grants. Would you join me in applauding as Mrs. Gomer comes to the podium?
Thank you. Welcome. Good evening, board members, Dr. De Leon, and Cabinet. Thank you for having me tonight. I'm the chairperson of the Glendora Kiwanis STEAM Grant Committee. For over 25 years, Glendora Kiwanis has been awarding grants to teachers. Originally, the program was called Artist in Residence and brought exciting art projects into the classroom. It was founded in memory of Maxine Bergstrom. Some of you that go back a ways may remember her. A strong supporter of art in schools and who was the administrative assistant to a former GUSD superintendent. 3 years ago, Kiwanis decided to expand the grant focus areas, and they became STEAM grants. This year, we are proud to award 4 $750 grants. The recipients are Deborah Clune and Damian Riggs from Glendora High School, Laura Purrington from Goddard Middle School, and Maureen Cobley from Sellers Elementary School. Their projects cover areas of science, engineering, and technology. We congratulate these outstanding teachers and wish them great success with their exciting projects. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. That is really exciting. Thanks to the Kiwanis. Next will be the GHS Wrestler.
Okay, Dr. Brummett, would you like to come up and introduce your wrestler? This is so exciting. And invite Mr. Llewellyn up and, oh boy.
Our athletic director, Mr. Llewellyn, has something prepared for our fantastic wrestler this evening.
Good evening. Dr. De Leon, Board of Trustees, thank you for inviting us here this evening. Before I introduce you to Samantha Sachs, I would like to first recognize Samantha's parents. Mr. and Mrs. Sachs are in the audience. Yeah, wave. Samantha's little brother is also in attendance. He's back there. Yep. Her grandparents have also joined us this evening. Yeah, she's got a nice support system. Also in attendance is her aunt, Mrs. Johnson, right there. Yeah. Our head coach, Stephen Traylor, couldn't make it here this evening, but in attendance we also have assistant coach David Hester. Yeah. So, Samantha has had an incredible start to her high school experience. She began only wrestling 7 months ago. Yeah, pretty remarkable. Wow. Her overall record this year was 22-5. She is a Palomares League champion. Wow. At CIF, Samantha was perfect 5-0 and was named tournament MVP. Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Applause. Absolutely.
Wow.
Samantha is the first girl in school history to win an individual CIF championship. At the Masters tournament, she went 4-2, and this qualified her for the state tournament. At CIF State, which was held in Fresno, Samantha went 2-2. Being only a freshman, we very much look forward to watching her wrestle for GHS for the next 3 years. Absolutely. As a student with this grueling wrestling schedule, Samantha earned a 4.0 GPA her first semester in high school. Samantha would like to thank everybody for their support, especially her family, her coaches, and her teammates. Thank you. Sure.
Can I ask a quick question? I'm sorry, Samantha, to put you on the spot like this, and if you want Mr. Llewellyn to answer for you, that's okay. How'd you decide to start wrestling?
I've been doing jiu-jitsu since I started when I was 7, and it was kind of the closest thing that I could try to show my skills, so I just kind of started it.
And I'm assuming that there is all girls league, all boys league, no.
So I wrestled during regular season. I wrestled in all the boys tournaments, and in league I competed 113 boys varsity.
Okay.
And but once it got to postseason, then I started wrestling just girls.
Okay, so I know nothing about wrestling. Is there like weight classes? How does this work? How do you get lined up against your opponent?
Yeah, so for boys I competed 113 pounds, and girls I competed 116 pounds.
Okay, you're awesome. Congratulations on a remarkable first year.
Thank you.
Samantha, me too. As a mother of athletes too, as is Mrs. Reuter, I thank Mom and Dad.
Oh, yeah.
Because I know the trips to practice and the money that goes out. I mean, thank you for following her passion and giving her this. We know that some of our student athletes, whether it's athletes or drama or band, it's the reason they come to school sometimes, So, I mean, I'm so... And to think you were in 8th grade last year. I mean, come on.
Yeah.
I think it's awesome. I'm so excited for you, and I look forward to watching you in the future. Congratulations, my dear.
I would just like to note, Samantha, that you are making history in Women's History Month.
Absolutely.
Girl power.
What reason do we not have for going up there
I
right
think
now?
we should.
Go enjoy.
No, you can stay.
No, you hang out. You don't have to get in the picture. You can take a closer picture. Aww. Congratulations. We're so proud to have you.
Okay, well, that is very exciting. We are thrilled to have you here. Next will be our PTA Reflections winner. Okay.
All right. PTA Reflections. Yes. So I'm welcoming Marie Rose, who is presenting the awards tonight. Thank you so much.
Thank you, and good evening to everyone. The Reflections program is a national arts program that's put together by the PTA, and it provides opportunities for our students to express themselves creatively and receive positive recognition for their original works of art, which you will see on the board over there on the left. And we will see a couple of videos in a moment as well. We have several categories of art, and it also is broken down in tiers based on school level. So we have TK to second, third through fifth, middle school, and high school. And the categories of art are dance, choreography, film production, literature, music composition, photography, and visual arts. And those who were selected at the school level were moved up to council level, and from council they went on to First District. We have several awardees at First District as well, and a winner at First District who went to compete at the California state level. So I'll be introducing you to those students. Did you want the students to wait up here and do a group picture? Perfect. Wonderful. Thank you so much. We're very proud of our students, and for the fact that this year's theme was I Will Change the World By, and their ideas and their creative perspective definitely helped our community, and hopefully will help others by looking at them as examples. For our elementary level, we have Isaac Fang. If you can come up, Isaac. He won he's a first grader. And you should see his artwork. Good job. Next, we have Kalia Scoffinger. She is a fourth grader, and her category was dance choreography. If you can come up, Kalia. Both Isaac and Kalia were First District awardees. Then we have Victoria Pernomo. She did a visual arts piece. She's a third grader. Is Victoria here? Come on up, Victoria. Congratulations, great job. We have from elementary, second division, Maya Bell, a fifth grader for her photography. Is Maya Bell here? Okay. We have Sadie Kim in literature. Sadie Kim, are you here? Come on up, Sadie. Fourth grade. Great job. Well done, everybody. We have Mingdong Liu for his photography. Mingdong, are you here? Come on up. Great job with your photography. Then we have Aditi Govin. Aditi, if you can come up, for her visual arts. Yes, not easy. We have Gabrielle Pearl from middle school for her dance. If we can show her dance routine while she's coming up, that would be wonderful. Gabrielle Pearl.
My reflection project on what I can do.
That's okay. That's a different one, but we can show that. There we go. Can we show Kalia Scoffingers as well?
If you ever find yourself stuck in the middle of the sea, I'll sail the world to find you. If you ever find yourself lost in the dark and you can't see, I'll be the light to guide you. Find out what we're made of when we are called to help our friends in need. You can count on me like 1, 2, 3, I'll be there. And I know when I need it, I can count on you like 4, 3, 2, and you'll be there. 'Cause that's what friends are supposed to do, oh yeah.
Awesome. Thank you. We also have from middle school Avery Stum, and in photography. Come on up, Avery. Avery was also a first district awardee. Congratulations, Avery. And our last awardee is Logan Burnett, who is out of town. But if we can play his video, he is a...
My reflection project
go ahead.
on what I can do to change the world. We could make the earth a better place to live by telling your parents to turn off the car when idling, avoid burning in a refinery, and avoid burning at home. I can plant a seed which makes the air better for us to breathe. And 2 weeks later, it will become a sunflower. These are the things you could do to change the world. Thank you.
That was the one that won and went on to state. So, yeah.
Would
Thank
you
you.
like to be in the picture with the honorees?
Gladly. Thank you.
Awesome.
Watch the courts. Watch the courts. Yes. We don't need any incidents. You want to take your turn?
Thank you, Mrs. Rose. Reflections is such a great program of PTA. Does many wonderful things, goes on. They can get scholarships, and it's really good. Let's see. Next, we have a discussion action item to approve.
Tell everybody that they can go.
Oh, yeah. If you want to go, we can. Those of us.
We're happy to have you.
Yeah, we love having you, and it's fun to have you here. But if you, I mean, it's getting close. It's not that late. They didn't fix that clock back there. But you are welcome. We'll just give you a minute.
Our world's in good shape.
We need 2 more chairs up.
When they get up, I was going to move the 2 chairs from the front so that it's not quite the disruption. Is that okay?
Mm-hmm. Okay, so.
Oh, she got it. You know, maybe we take a picture of everything.
No, yeah, after she's in high school.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely, yes. Yes. Homework first. Okay.
Okay, thank you again. We have one discussion action item I need a motion to approve, ratify the Memorandum of Understanding Non-Credit Education Agreement between Citrus College and Glendora Unified School District as presented.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, it's been moved by Mrs. Reuter and seconded by Dr. Fernando. Dr. De Leon?
At this time, Dr. Kelson, would you and your counterpart from Citrus like to come to the podium and just talk briefly about the memorandum? And then we will have our ceremonial signature. Yes.
Miss Yvonne, please come on up. Ladies and gentlemen, this is Yvonne McCraven.
Yay!
So Yvonne has a very important job at Citrus College, and I will tell you what's even more important than her title is her commitment to improving the quality of life of people in the region through opportunities to gain skills, whether that is in a non-credit customer service training program or in the phenomenal program that we are going to be partnering on from this point forward. So, Dr. De Leon, Yvonne, I don't know if you have anything you would like to say before the official moment begins?
I'm very excited to have this partnership with Glendora Unified. I know we already work together in many other areas, and I think this is a great opportunity to really improve the quality of education we provide for our students. So this is a very exciting opportunity for us as well.
Introducing your
Yes. I think you have some folks here. Yes.
I'm happy to introduce our President and Superintendent, Dr. Greg Schultz.
Yay!
Our Board of Trustees, Dr. Patricia Rasmussen.
Yay!
And our Vice President of Academic Affairs, Dr. Jomana McGowan.
All right, so at this time, we will have the ceremonial signing of the MOU. And so, Trustee Merkley, would you like to join me? And also, Dr. Schultz and Dr. Rasmussen. You'll come on up.
So our friends from Citrus, if you'd like to sit on this side.
I'm going to bring 2 more chairs.
Okay.
Thank you for coming. It's nice to meet you. I'm glad you're here.
Front and center.
Yvonne?
We've got to get the pictures, as we each sign 11.
Like to say any other? Yes, please.
First of all, I would just like to thank thrilled at the prospect of expanding our in all the various areas in dual enrollment, in articulation. While they're in high school and afterwards, so thank you so much for your partnership. Appreciate it.
Your leadership, and we're very grateful to the Glendora Unified School District Board of Education as well. It's a wonderful, wonderful partnership.
Dr. Kelson, would you mind, just for the sake of our TV viewing audience, maybe to give a brief description of what memorandum you just signed? It's pretty exciting.
Thank you. On behalf of our team, I would be honored to, and on the behalf of the team from Citrus. So a couple of summers ago, when I got introduced to our partners at Citrus College, they presented a number of opportunities, one of which is the early college program that we've implemented. A second is our access for our students to some non-credit courses that take students in a few weeks right into entry-level jobs. And this third one, which is the one we've signed for this evening, is the opportunity for students at Glendora and Whitcomb high schools to, here's the key, learn how to apply for, register for, and participate in a community college summer school class taught by our Glendora High School or other Glendora Unified staff. So for us, it's an opportunity to expand their knowledge of what it is to make that transition to post-secondary life, while also having the benefit of Citrus College's expertise in how to run a summer program such as this. I will tell you one editorial comment when Yvonne explained to me all of the things that her team has learned to support programs such as this one and make it successful. I think it's going to be a tremendous treat for our students. I must also say that I am tremendously grateful for Dr. Brummett, for Jamie Norrell, and for their leadership in being willing to help us as we do this first year implementation. So fantastic opportunity to build more transitions to post-secondary life for the students in Glendora Unified.
Thank you so much. Any other comments?
Sure,
Okay.
we'll be hearing more about the summer school program as we
Yes.
move forward, but a good introduction to the partnership this way. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
So I think Mrs. Reuter moved and Dr. Fernando seconded. So all in favor of ratifying this MOU?
Aye.
Aye. None opposed, so it passed. Thank you so much.
Thank you all.
Okay, well, I have no public comment cards. I don't. So we will turn the time over to Nadia for our student report.
Yay!
Good evening, Dr. Oh, is it? No. Excuse me. Oh my gosh. Good evening. Is it? There you go. Good evening, Dr. DeLeon and esteemed members of the school board. Tonight, I will be giving a student board report on the behalf of Stanton, Sutherland, and Cullen Elementary, as well as Sandburg and Glendora High School. Thank you. Stanton celebrated Tuesday on February 22nd, as well as Read Across America Week with Mindset, Virtual Assembly, guest speakers, daily reading events, and a Spirit Assembly with a Reader's Oath. They held their Spirit Night at Chick-fil-A and had over $500 in donations. Second semester awards were shared via Virtual Assembly that parents could watch, and students received certificates to take home. And teachers have completed their second trimester report cards and conferences this week. Sutherland students and staff spent last month learning about acceptance and diversity with activities and lessons. They also celebrated Valentine's, Lunar New Year, and President's Day with activities as well. Cullen's second graders recently participated in lessons through Discovery Cube, funded by the Glendora Education Foundation. Kindergarten students also participated in dental screening this past month. On March 2nd, Sandburg had a Camfell steaming assembly called the State of Knee that encouraged students to recognize, value, and develop their unique differences. Students were challenged to go beyond stereotypes, racism, and prejudices of others and work together to make this world a better place to live. 8th grade science students had the chance to design and build cars to work on their engineering skills, while 6th grade students made dioramas depicting daily life in Egypt. Spring break grams were sent out during homeroom Friday, March 2nd. At GHS, the senior rally will take place next week, which will give seniors a chance to watch a performance by a hypnotist and the action theme revealed together as a class. This will also be a reminder to continue to make good choices as we come to the end of the year. And with action coming on April 8th, planning is ramping up, and ASB is thrilled to be working with PEP to choreograph class dances, GHS artists to paint class murals, and inviting any student to sign up to participate in action games. Executive election results were announced today. Congratulations to Harika Chimada for being elected executive president, and I'm very excited to serve as executive vice president. Applications to run for class officer positions and to apply to be in the ASB class are now open as well. Regarding athletics and the arts, spring sports are underway and every spring team is off to a great start. Royal Stewarts and Silhouettes show choirs competed at Hart High School this past Saturday. Congratulations to Silhouettes for winning first place in the intermediate women's division and Royal Stewarts for winning second place in their division. The Glendora Orchestra performed last Friday at the annual Tartan Festival, where they performed songs such as At World's End from Pirates of the Caribbean. Bandurama will take place on March 19th starting at 7 p.m. in the gym. The marching band, jazz band, and concert bands will all be performing their sets along with a performance from pageantry. Tickets are $15 each. And congratulations to the Glendora High School Drumline for taking first place in their division at the Colony High School competition yesterday. Thank you.
Thank you, Nadia. It sounds like lots of good things are going on. I have to tell you, back when I was in high school, back in the dark ages, we had a hypnotist come to the high school. Oh. Not Glendora. Just some things never change. Okay, now it is time for comments from the Board of Education, and we will start with Mrs. Reuter.
Thank you, Mrs. Merkley. I'm not going to say happy anniversary because it's not exactly, it's weird, but 2 years and 1 day ago, we closed all of our schools down on March 13th and 2020, and it's hard to believe that we sit here today, 2 years later, thankfully without our masks on, as we sort of continue to strive towards what the new normal looks like in K-12 education. We've really been, as a board and as a governance team, operating in a mode of sort of crisis communication over the last 2 years. It's really been a lot about what's going on with the pandemic, what the mandates are, what the logistics of all of that. And we haven't been able to communicate about a lot of the other great things that have been happening all along that time. On Friday, if you're a parent, you received the Friday Parent Square report that talked about over the course of the next several weeks, we will be highlighting our progress toward the district LCAP goals and recognizing all of the hard work of our incredible GUSD staff and students towards accomplishing them. So it's our pleasure to be held accountable towards those district and LCAP goals that were set forward. We set some new ones back in August at the beginning of the school year. But even more than the board being held accountable for those goals is to highlight what has been happening. Teachers in their classrooms helping to figure out where their students are after having been home for a year and change. Principals and counselors supporting their staff and supporting the district initiatives. All staff, every staff member in every school supporting the students in their school, all the things that all of our staff has been doing, district office staff and the initiatives that they have been leading and supporting. The pandemic, while not great, did give us, not great at all, did give us a chance to reevaluate. We're sort of starting from scratch, if you will, to reevaluate processes, to reevaluate the way that things have been done, which I think is a really positive step forward, a way to move forward to figure out what the new normal looks like in Glendora Unified. I'm really looking forward to the presentation from our high school team tonight. It's things like this, presentations like this, that this board is really looking forward to hearing more regularly about the great things that have been going on and the areas, highlighting any areas of need or additional support that we can provide. Communication of all of these things is going to be critical moving forward. In this same message, it talked about social media updates weekly on the accountability of these board goals. So I hope you all will look forward to hearing these accountability reports and these amazing presentations put on by our staff as much as the board is looking forward to it. Thank you very much.
Dr. Fernando.
I'm not sure how to follow after that very comprehensive report, but I guess one thing I want to do as we kind of pause in 2022 after what we've experienced over the last 2 years is to pause. I think especially because of how fast-driven our culture is, it's very easy to think about what the next thing is going to be. And I think it might be helpful, and I would suggest even at the site level, the leaders kind of take a moment with their staffs to pause and reflect and talk about the lessons that they have learned, the professional lessons that they've learned, the personal lessons that they've learned. I think this also gives us the continued ability to, I would love to say, give more patience to each other as we move forward to this new normal. Because not everybody is going to want to take their mask off today. Not everybody's going to feel safe today. And many, many people, thousands of people, have lost loved ones, some of whom have lost multiple loved ones, and some of whom have long-term conditions as a result of what's happened over the last 2 years. Some of us have not been impacted directly at all. So we all are experiencing differences, and we are all in different spaces. But I think the beauty of this community, hopefully, I think the beauty of this country, is that we create space for each other because we live in a democracy. So how are we going to do that at Glendora Unified School District? If we say that we are one of the best school districts in the San Gabriel Valley, I would also think it's not just based on the number of AP classes students take, it's also by the way that we treat each other. And that comes from the board, that comes from the superintendent, the assistant superintendents, the principals, the teachers, and even how students treat each other. That should be one of our indicators of excellence. So as we think about ourselves moving into an endemic from a pandemic, are we going to be known as a district that obviously achieves great things academically, but we are also going to be a district that shows humility, kindness, justice, and care? That is the larger question, I think, for us as we move forward in a time of great division. I also want to say that during this time that I want to say a personal thank you to all of the district office staff, the classified staff, the teachers, the superintendents, the principals, all of you who had to continue to pivot every day. Every day was a pivot. It wasn't just moments, it was every day. And I know that especially our teachers are probably coming out of this season feeling very sapped and exhausted. And I do hope that as we think about the summer, even as we think about the spring break, that you have time to actually get off the treadmill. Actually, it wasn't a treadmill, right? It was a sprint. But that you have time to reflect and to potentially reconnect as to why you chose this profession. I'm in the profession of higher education. We're going through that too. So just an opportunity, I think, to pause and reflect and remind ourselves about, in addition to academics, in addition to outcomes, right, what does make this place great? And it has to be more, I think, than just test scores. So again, thank you for all you've done over the last 2 years. Thank you for your engagement. Thank you for hanging in there with us, with LA County. I know it's been a challenge. Yeah, just thinking about you in these next days and months to come.
Very well said, Dr. Fernando. Thank you. Ms. Board?
My remarks tonight are just to give some clarification to some remarks that were made at the last board meeting about transparency and a couple of petitions that came up. So I have a little timeline. On October 25th, 2021, GUSD issued a statement on CRT and ethnic studies. After that date, Dr. Kelson facilitated a study session for the board on ethnic studies, curriculum, and lesson plans, and linked some of the 1,000 plus pages on the CDE website to curriculum, lesson plans, and it's all suggested for ethnic studies. This was in response to parent concerns, and it's fair. You know, it's fair for us to share that information. I also wanted to share that Dr. De Leon is in weekly communications with LACO, which is the LA County Office of Education, including the superintendent there and Dr. Ferrer, and my glasses are fogging up. Assistant Superintendent of Business arranged for parents to meet with, that's Tracy Vicar, arranged with parents to meet and share concerns with Senator Anthony Portantino in a 3-on-1 meeting with three parents with Senator Portantino. It was Zoom. It was right in this room, and Mrs. Merkley and I attended that, and those parents got to ask questions regarding masks and vaccines and whatnot. I also want to thank Senator Portantino for his support and writing of SB 830, which is going to adjust school funding, finally helping districts as Glendora Unified, who has a little higher of a socioeconomic overall outlook, that this is going to change school funding. And right now we're sending out, and I think we're going to vote on it tonight, a resolution to support this. And if it goes through, it's going to help us get a little more funding instead of the funding we do not get. I know we haven't heard it yet, but I wanted to encourage the high school with your WASC. I loved reading the words differentiation, data-driven lessons, and professional development, because we can't do all this stuff unless teachers are trained, and ongoing training for it too. So I'm looking forward to hearing your presentation and supporting you with your goals and just being there. Thank you.
Great comments, guys. Happy Pi Day. And I agree with everything that they said. Before I introduce Dr. De Leon, she's going to give her superintendent's report. And so Mrs. Reuter touched on our goals that we set. So in the fall of 2019, so well over 2 years ago, before the pandemic, the school board and Dr. Vors met with Nick Lacey with Red Kite Creative to work on goals for the school district. Mr. Lacey sent out a survey and got an amazing 3,000 responses, which is the largest we've ever had. And some of the positive comments about our school district were, provides an excellent education and supports and serves students, strives to do what is best for the children, for the students, survive and get by with current resources, and just kind of grind your way through. Mr. Lacey also reported that the respondents said that the barriers to success were funds, always, right? Lack of progress, stuck in old ways, afraid to change, unwillingness to change, and complacency. And that's one thing we've really been working on. State restrictions and policies, and this was before the mask mandate and stuff. So, students from outside Glendora are declining enrollment, leadership, and a disconnect between teachers and district. The survey resulted in a 50-page report, which will be posted on our GUSD website. A big thank you to Mr. Lacey for his help. Using the data that we collected, we set and adopted goals on July the 26th, 2021 for the district, and we've asked Dr. De Leon to report on a goal at each of our board meetings. So we are starting that tonight. Dr. De Leon, for your report, please.
High School? Yes, we were. So I think we're going to go back and talk about these goals so everybody knows how amazing we are. Okay, here we go. So the first one, student achievement through college and career readiness. So this is where our goal one. Expanding CTE pathways. So really the goal with this is to ensure so I'm just going to say, not every child has to go to a 4-year university, but every child needs to be ready to be gainfully employed. I don't want anybody to be there the Monday after graduation. Administrators Academy, I know some of you. Microphone needs to be on. I am so sorry. So let me move down. Next slide here. And then safe and healthy 21st century learning environments. This is where all of our work around social emotional learning is going to be. Our work around restorative practices will be here. Facilities needs assessment and improvement plan. We need to go for a bond at a certain point. I said the B word. We have to. I need a track at Glendora High School. Do I need a track at Glendora High School? Do I need to improve all the facilities? Yes. Yes, we got to go for a bond, saying it loud and proud. Yes. So, but we're going to do a facilities needs assessment to make sure that happens. Oh, the board's like, she said it.
We're going for it. Here we go.
Let's do it. B word. Okay. Sustainable technology infrastructure to support 21st century learning, which basically is for careers that don't even exist yet. And then ensuring that all site and district safety plans are implemented. And we've already done some work on that, so really excited about all of that work. Community engagement and collaboration. As Trustee Reuter so eloquently said, positive and proactive communication. We've added a lot. Can we do better? Yes, we can. In fact, one of those things is we want to update our website so things are so much easier to find on the website. Stakeholder input through a comprehensive community engagement plan, which is beginning now. You want to know how we're doing it? I'm so excited about this. Are you excited, Virginia? I am. Okay, so we are bringing Dr. Judy White, former Superintendent of Riverside County Office of Education, former Superintendent of Moreno Valley Unified School District, who is going to help us go on a listening tour and invite groups of stakeholders to come and give us input about how we can improve engagement and communication and all of those pieces in this district and just improve as a district. Because the reality is, at least for me, I need to hear that because I've only been here doing crisis management mostly. And and hearing a lot of thoughts about crisis management. But I really need to hear input from everybody. And so that's all of our teachers, our administrators, classified staff, and our parents. We're also engaging our first Black African American Parent Advisory Council, and that our parents have been invited to that, and that will be March 21st at 6 o'clock here to really start to listen to input about our educational program as it relates to our African American students in this district. Really important. Let's see, promote positive collaboration with employee groups to support teachers, administrators, and support staff, and also engage higher education, business, community, and philanthropic partners to increase opportunities for students, including future career paths. Already working with Joe Cena, from the CEO of the Glendora Chamber of Commerce, who put out a survey to businesses and has gotten a lot of response back from businesses who are willing to either do apprenticeships, internships, come do mock interviews, help us present in classrooms, all of those things, take students when they graduate. So, yeah. I'm excited about that, so really, really happy. And then the last one, and I take it back, this is so not boring at all.
It's so much fun.
So fiscal solvency is really important, or because we can't do anything else without fiscal solvency. So analyzing and implementing strict internal checks and balances to make sure multiple people are checking on things, right? All along the way. Align fiscal resources to the district goals and priorities. Your budget should read like your district goals. You should, in fact, your budget, because the way we budget, we list everything by goal, like what goal does it align to. So you can tell what's important to a district by what you spend money on. And the same for sites. Explore and secure grant funding. Last school year, while we were in COVID, our amazing district, teachers, administrators, and classified staff wrote for and received $1.65 million in grants. I mean, that's huge, what we've never had before. We continue to write for grants. It's free money, peeps. We gotta write for grants all the time. Ensure facilities maintenance and improvement, including fields and athletic facilities. Fun, but yes, we've got to do that. And then here's the hard one, and this is going to probably be my first social media update. And this is the one that breaks my heart, and we got to fix this. Address long-term declining enrollment through attrition and innovative programming. Attrition meaning when people leave the district or retire, we are very disciplined about not replacing. Does that mean that, yes, class sizes get higher? Yes, but we would never go over, obviously, our contractual agreement about class size. But we have been dealing with declining enrollment in this district, and we are down, I think as of this year, about 1,300 kids from where we were just 5 years ago. So we're under-enrolled for the amount of staff. Now, we're much closer because we did the PARS retirement incentive last year, and we had 55 retirements, 10 more this year. But we use attrition to say when people leave, we try not to replace them if we don't have to, because we don't have the kids anymore. And you know that our funding comes directly from kids. So that's a really hard thing to do, but I prefer to look at the innovative programming. And why do we do innovative programming? To try to bring kids back. And also, the more unique programs we have, the less ability other districts have to deny inter-district transfers, right? Because you have to have a unique program. So my goal is for every school in this district to have an amazing, unique program that nobody else has, so we can have all those kiddos back in our district, because the last thing I want to ever do is ever close a school again, not on my watch. So you're going to hear a lot about innovative programming expansion of CTE programs, and CTE programs that start at elementary, work their way up through middle, high school, college, I'm so excited. Can you tell I'm bursting? I'm so excited. This is what I've been waiting to do. I mean, we've been doing it all along, but I mean, I've been waiting to focus on all of this. So in any case, that's an overview of our goals, which came directly from feedback from that survey that Mr. Lacey did and board input when I first got here, and we worked on these goals together, and I am thrilled to have been working on these with our amazing team, all of our teachers, classified staff, and administrators, and parents. We're working towards every child. Every child. I will not say less than 100%. I cannot do it. I can't. So we're going to work so every child has a successful, powerful future in this district. So these are the goals that we know will help us get there, and we're proud to implement these and update everybody as we go. And I know all of you are going to be part of it. So I'm excited about it, and thank you so much, Trustee Merkley, board members, staff, and community, and teachers. Thank you so much. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Dr. De Leon. Are there any comments or questions? No? Not yet? It's a lot. No, okay. Well, we are excited too that we can finally really begin focusing on these instead of crisis management.
So happy.
Okay, staff presentations. Our California School Employees Association, chapter number 247, negotiations proposal for 2022-2023, presented by Dr. DeGrazia and Marianne Nichols, CSEA
Yes,
President.
please welcome Marianne Nichols, CSEA President, to the microphone. Wow, all these people are for you? This is outstanding. Is she going to sing or something, or what? President Merkley, members of the board, Dr. De Leon, distinguished guests, it's our pleasure to present jointly, I think this is for the second time.
Second time.
It's the first annual presentation jointly of the Sunshining. That's the opening of proposals for negotiations for the 2022-2023 school year. Marianne.
All right. CSEA and its Glendora Chapter 247, in conjunction with the district negotiating team, respectfully bring forward the following joint sunshining proposal on the annual openers of Article 10, salary, as well as Article 11, fringe benefits. In addition to these items, the district and CSEA are looking forward to working alongside one another to address the following articles in the upcoming year. It is our plan to work on Article 7, association rights, Article 20, hours and overtime, and Article 21, layoffs and reemployment.
Thank you. And also, I wanted to thank Sepna Jithani Prado. She's the CSEA Labor Relations Representative for the Glendora chapter. Sepna, welcome to you. Thank you for being here. And in addition, we look forward to working together, continuing to work together to focus on the aforementioned items in the immediate future. We continue to appreciate the hard work and dedication of each one of our classified bargaining unit members, as well as the work of the joint negotiations teams. We extend additional gratitude to all of our classified employees for their persistence and perseverance, spirit of ongoing collaboration, and creative problem solving over these past 2 years, which many have referenced tonight. And we look forward, certainly, what tonight brings, but to what 2022, 2023, very difficult to say, all in a row, will bring. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Okay, now, what you've all been waiting for.
Yes.
It's Glendora High School WASP Preview presented by Dr. Kelson, Dr. Brummett, and Jamie Norrell.
So exciting.
Thank you, everyone. I first must say thanks publicly to Dr. Brummett for his leadership of this dynamic team and staff as they have prepared for a thoroughly reflective and student-centered accreditation visit. So I would like to turn the microphone over to Dr. Brummett for their presentation. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Dr. Kelson, and good evening, President Merkley, Board of Trustees, Dr. De Leon, and Executive Cabinet. Thank you for the opportunity to be here tonight to discuss something very exciting for our school. Some say it's exciting, others say it's a little tiring, but we're there. I do also want to thank our teachers who are in attendance tonight, taking time away from their families to make sure that the board and the community are informed on what we're doing with our self-study and our action plan as we have our visit next week. So thank you, team, for being here. I really appreciate it. And to our leadership team in the very back that came out to support, wave your hands back there. Thank you guys for being here tonight as well. Team effort. The objective tonight, if you go back one slide, is to update the Board of Trustees and community on the self-study process for accreditation. The accreditation process, it really validates what we're doing at GHS. It's data-driven. We put forth an action plan, but what it really does in the end is it puts meaning behind our diploma. So when colleges look at our students, whenever they're applying to schools, they know that Glendora High School is preparing our students very well. And that's what WAS does, is it gives that stamp of approval to say, you guys are doing what you say you're supposed to be doing. Next, I'd like to pass the microphone to Janelle Coates, a science teacher and co-writer, a daunting task in and of itself, of our WAS self-study report.
Hello, I'm Janelle Coates. I teach chemistry at the high school. I'm just going to go through a couple of terms that you're going to hear tonight. WASC being our first one. So this is just a Western Association of Schools and Colleges. And this is the organization that we work with when we are going through our accreditation process. So the accreditation process is really just a voluntary process that really has two processes. And one is that we are worthy of the trust that has been given to us, that we are committed to a high quality education. And that two, we are in the process of meeting goals and continuing improvement in our education and our commitment to higher education. And then focus groups. These are, you'll probably hear focus groups quite a bit, and you're going to hear from our amazing focus group leaders here. This is interdisciplinary groups around campus, so we have 5 focus groups. And so this focus group is made up of science, English, math, classified staff, all around campus. And then we have our home groups, and these are organized by disciplines. So there's going to be just a science home group, or English home group, math home group. And then last 2 terms, ACS-WAS. This is a particular organization that we deal with in high school. They are going to award us either a 1, a 3, or a 6-year term, which we know we'll get our 6-year term. And then it's just this process over over the 6 years, that we're going to show our commitment to our goals and to the process, improving, and our high education. And then the self-study leaders. These are our staff members that just help with the organization and authoring of our document. So my partner in crime, Pam Edward, I think is next.
Hi, hello everyone. I am in charge of giving the history, ironic, since I'm a history teacher. So I wanted to go back to our previous study in 2015. That was our last visit, and at that time we got a 6-year with a 1-year revisit. So it was just a 1 day where they came back and made sure we were doing what we said we were going to do. So we came out with 3 goal areas from that study that we have been working on these past 6+ years, because we had a little delay. I'm sure you know, COVID, right? So growth area number 1, instructional strategies to increase student engagement. So we have been working across multiple disciplines to ensure that students are getting what they need and are being trained for that. So we have had instructional rounds where teachers have gone to other teachers' classrooms to see about student engagement and had debriefing in regards to that. We have been celebrating best practices in our late start days, in our staff development meetings, and in our staff meetings. And those have been really great to help us improve, because we've worked together as a school to help with those instructional strategies. So our second growth area is curriculum development. We have made sure that our curriculum is aligned with changing standards that have occurred most Common Core state standards, the national science standards, 21st century standards. All of those have helped us improve by connecting what is expected of us at the state level down to our classrooms. And our third area has been our school culture that embraces diversity. As we know, our demographics are changing here in Glendora Unified, and as a result of that, we have worked to increase the opportunity for students to become involved. We have 44 clubs on our campus. ASB has really expanded opportunities for students to become involved, and so we have celebrated that diversity by opening up opportunities for students to participate. We also have kind of added a couple other growth areas that we saw that we wanted to make sure that we were helping with. The first being more formative assessment, meaning that we're checking for understanding as we go along. We're not just giving them a big test at the end of the unit, but every day we're doing a little bit of a check to make sure that students are growing and understanding material. And the second thing is we've really worked on differentiating our instruction. As Dr. DeLeon mentioned, it's important to reach all those levels, and we have them all in our classroom. We have the AP students, and we have the students who are on IEPs, and so by differentiating our instruction, we have really helped grow to meet the other areas as well. So, thank you.
Pam gave you the history. I'm going to tell you where we stand today and where we are in this process. In the fall of 2019, we started to juggle not just going back through those major recommendations that Pam talked about, but also starting to look forward to our 2021 WASC visit that was supposed to be 2021 and start to build our self-study. Our staff brainstormed and created school-wide learner outcomes, otherwise known as SLOs, on campus that demonstrated the characteristics that we hoped all of our graduates would demonstrate when they left our campus. We chose a term near and dear to the Tartan's heart with action, hoping to create articulate students, critical thinkers, thoughtful citizens, inquisitive students, original individuals, and next-level learners. From there, we started to look at data in order to prep for Chapter 3. On March 13th, 2020, as Mrs. Reuter mentioned, that was put to a halt. Literally, the next Monday was supposed to be our first day of writing Chapter 3. During the pandemic, we hit the pause button while we dealt with more immediate needs of our staff. We then were notified that our visit was postponed an additional year. So when we were finally back together on campus in the spring of 2021, we went back to the good work of WASC. In our home groups and focus groups, we worked on reevaluating the SLOs to make sure they still met the needs that our students had post-pandemic, and also to start writing our Chapter 3 findings. In the fall of 2021, our home groups and focus groups finalized those findings, attached evidence, and articulated areas of strength and areas of growth. In the fall of 2021 and the beginning of the winter, we started to look at our action plan, both as a staff and then in departments where we looked at specific strategies and where we would contribute. Finally, we had our mock WASC, say that 3 times fast, last week, where esteemed visitors were able to put us through a simulation of a focus group meeting that we will all go through next week, and then provide invaluable feedback to our staff, which we've spent the last week and a half disseminating. Right now, we are going to have our focus group leaders who are going to come talk specifically to those areas of strength and growth. So we are going to start with our Group A, which deals with organization, and that's Mr. Gordon Hamlow and Mr. Brandon Rohr.
Good evening. My name is Gordon Hamlow. I'm an Integrated 1 teacher at GHS, and I'm going to highlight some of our strengths in our particular focus group, and Coach Rohr will come up and give you some of our areas of growth shortly. Taking a look at our survey that was conducted in the fall, it says, when asked if Glendora High School does an effective job communicating, 84.9% of parents and 84.5% of staff strongly agreed or agreed. Addressing Addressing materials needed, 86.2% of staff strongly agree or agree they have access to the materials needed to do their job. And then, the most important one, 93.8% or 94%, I'm gonna round up, percent of Glendora High School staff strongly agreed or agreed with the statement that they enjoy coming to work every day.
Good evening. My name is Brandon Rohr. I teach math and a little bit of football at Glendora High School. I'm going to talk about the areas of growth. First one is campus security and safety. 85% of our staff felt that it was a safe place to work. 68% of our students felt like it was safe to go to school. Now, 68 is not a terrible number, but obviously we want all our students to feel safe when entering school. So next steps is to figure out why and then come up with a game plan from there. Second one is our textbook adoption timeline. We didn't get to it because of COVID, so we'll definitely get back to that this year. And the last one is our aging facilities and infrastructure. With technology growing so fast, we want our teachers to be equipped and be able to keep up and give the best to our students. Next up, I'd like to bring up Group B, Brenda Hoffmeister and Danny Kent.
Thank you. I'm Daniela Kent. I teach English at Glendora High School, and we are sharing our curriculum findings. And traditionally, GHS has done a fantastic job at developing curriculum, that innovative programming that you were talking about, that follows educational trends and fosters student interests. 85% of teachers surveyed reported that they have ample access to materials to deliver the superior instruction to our students. New textbooks and current textbook adoptions are underway in the science department and provide updated resources for changing curriculum needs. Our partnership with Citrus College and the Early College program allows students to advance in their educational pursuits or choose from one of the many CTE offerings in our schedule. Our AVID program bridges the achievement gap with its over 200 students, and growing, on their way to college. Our special ed program has excelled in their work programs through the Workability Grant, giving students exposure to life outside of high school with its valuable learning opportunities. Our AP programs continue to add more courses for students to exhibit growth. Glendora High School's traditional interventions, our IEPs, 504s, and expanded tutoring options, help struggling students to find their way back to success. Our Character Strong curriculum has been in practice since 2018 and has been instrumental in providing valuable resources for resiliency in our student body. Our new Wellness Center, support roles with Dr. Corona and Mrs. Wooldridge, help borderline students achieve their personal best. And now Brenda Hoffmeister will report on our areas of growth.
Hi, I'm Brenda Hoffmeister. I teach AP Psychology and English, freshman English. I will be addressing our areas for growth with regards to curriculum. So we have spent a lot of time during late starts sharing and evaluating our STAR benchmark data, which we continue to use to develop cross-curricular programs. Data from the WASC survey shows that 52% of parents believe we are providing students access to local, national, and world events to gain a global perspective. To address the shortfall, for example, we have updated the 9th and 10th grade writing boot camp to include themes relevant to current societal issues. Also, according to the WASC survey, 81% of parents and 86% of teachers agree that Glendora High School is providing a quality education that prepares students for their future career and educational endeavors. However, there is room for improvement. We have implemented careers technical education courses to allow students to explore specific career pathways. Our staff continues to find ways of meeting the post-secondary needs of our students. And finally, we are constantly finding new and effective ways to address our at-promise population. Prior to the pandemic, we put in place a multi-tiered system of support, which we continue to develop. This year, we implemented a spreadsheet to document seniors at risk for not graduating, which we are working on currently, so that these students can be followed and supported throughout the rest of the year. I will now introduce our Group C, Learning and Teaching, Mr. Pat Hart and Mr. Ben Winslow.
Good evening, everybody. Again, my name is Pat Hart, history teacher at the high school. It was an incredible honor and privilege to lead a really talented group of staff members in this focus group, focusing on learning and teaching with Ben Winslow behind me. In the past 6 years, since our last accreditation, we've expanded the number of different AP offerings to 23, and we're proud to say that we are now a capstone school. At GHS, we encourage all motivated and academically prepared students to consider enrolling in one or more of those. In an effort to help foster confidence and motivation, we've carefully implemented rigorous elements from those curriculums into several honors prep classes, as well as into our college prep offerings. And if I can unpackage that just a little bit, the idea is not simply to brag about AP courses, but to go up there, as we've done across the spectrum, and look into those rubrics and look into those course syllabi and course descriptions and bring down some of those elements of rigor, of course by scale, down into either an honors course or course throughout our college prep program. So that's what I want to expand on with some of these elements here in just a second. The teaching of research methodology and writing for each grade and across all levels in our English and Language Arts department. In social science, we've emphasized our College Board historical thinking skills of causation, comparison, change and continuity over time in the students' development as both thinkers and writers. In mathematics, we've added quite a number of courses to help bridge our integrated math and AP courses with numerous honors offerings, as well as making statistics now available at the college prep level. Also, our new MRWC courses that align with the Cal State system. In foreign language, our Spanish courses broke with the more traditional emphasis on vocabulary and rule mastery, and are now engaging our students with the TPRS program, or Teaching Proficiency Through Reading and Storytelling, which uses entertaining stories to introduce and reinforce vocabulary and grammar. These are just a couple of snippets in regards to the different things that we're doing across our different programs, our curriculum. And then number two, instructional technology. In the past 6 years, and by the way, what a different conversation we've had the first 3 years, or that first third year, and then what we just had recently. But no, quickly, as a staff, utilizing new and effective programs to enhance and support instruction, such as Nearpod, Flipgrid, Edpuzzle, Desmos, Delta Math, Money Skills, many of those programs. I can keep going on and on, but I would be remiss not to highlight the idea that in the past 2 years, the ability to put Chromebooks or laptops in the hands of all students, to take them home, to bring them back, to equip our staff with a laptop made in the 21st century. By the way, thank you. Excellent. And then you couple that together with a learning management system like Canvas, and able to take some of those programs that previously mentioned and pull them all together. It is an area of strength, but technology is always going to be an area of growth. So we consider that both. We celebrate what we've done and where we're at right now, and looking forward to the future with that. Speaking of areas of growth, I'll hand this over to Ben.
My name is Ben Winslow. I teach history at GHS. I'll focus on our areas of growth. We talked about further developing systems for evaluating student data to better inform instruction, and I know that's the data-driven thing has become a buzzword in academics. I've seen that done really poorly at a school I used to work at, where we were required to go through every student's 100-question final and manually input into Excel spreadsheets what was done right and what was done wrong. So to have hours and hours spent doing that, yay, we're doing data, but it didn't really help us change our instruction very well. We're very good at gathering data here at Glendora High. We have STAR, Renaissance, benchmarks, our PSATs, our SBACs, our APs, and lots of other acronyms. But then using that to inform how we teach is what we recognize as an area of growth. What would it look like on a late start Monday for a 10th grade AP Euro teacher to get together with a 11th grade AP US and an AP government teacher at the senior level and pour over the data that we got from those students taking their tests at the end of the year, and using those opportunities. in another way, we oftentimes focus data on assessment, but with the coming of the ethnic studies course, that's also an area we need to look at. A school that is 44% Hispanic, 39% white, and only 1% African American, how do we look at that data to inform how we teach those classes for students that have experiences that can speak to their cultural background, and then those voices that we're going to miss because of the different demographics of our school. So being able to use that data to inform that instruction. The second area that's up there is talking about our opportunities for students to experience and extend their learning. Dr. Fernando, you talked about kind of hitting pause during your remarks. Sometimes we have a tendency of saying we just want to add more stuff, and that can show that we're doing more. What we've talked about at the high school is how do we kind of deepen those resources that are already available to make sure that they're getting plugged in the classroom by teachers, that teachers are aware of these resources and know how to steer students in the right direction. So there's not just another program that comes in, but rather we're able to go, hey, there's tutor.com, and this is exactly how you can utilize it. There's Tartan University, here's BrainFuse. And it's not just me throwing out new terms, but those opportunities for students to then be familiar with those, ask us for help in the classroom, and then us to direct them to those resources that are needed. Now I'm going to introduce Ashley Fallon and Barbara Benison in Focus Group D, Assessment and Accountability.
Good evening. I'm Barbara Benison, math teacher at Glendora High School, and I'm here to talk about assessment and accountability. Just to begin with, within our group, communication was open, communication was positive, and we had input from all of the members of our group to write up our section of the report. So kudos to the group members. They were amazing. We both, obviously, as we were looking and reflecting, we found both areas of strength and areas of growth. I will share our areas of growth, and Ashley will share our... No, I'll do strengths. She will do growth. Okay. So our first area of strength is our various assessment opportunities for students. We have different formats that we give students opportunities to show their learning. We've got written assessments. We have lab write-ups. We have presentations for students. We also have online opportunities for students. Everybody shows their learning in different ways, and teachers have embraced many different ways and opened up opportunities for our students to be assessed and to show their learning. Our next area of strength is formative assessment, using the data from formative assessment to plan our learning and our future lessons, as well as to plan on the fly. Teachers all day are asking questions, using informal questioning, using exit tickets, using entrance tickets. Teachers are, making decisions every day that change the trajectory of where they thought they were going into where they were going. So we have a very robust program of formative assessment. And then our third is a subject area collaboration. Has been great at the Glendora High School. You see it through all departments. You see it in the math department, which is, I'm very proud to say that we have done a great job of working on collaborative assessments, working on common pacing, so that our students experience the same learning regardless of whose classroom they're in. In the world languages, they use common checks for understanding so that the students are all on the same page and learning the same thing. Our 9th and 10th graders have their writing boot camp so that they're all getting the same thing as they move on from year to year. The teachers know where they're coming from. They know where they're going. So all departments, through our late start meetings, through collaboration, have done a great job of working together with one another. And obviously, as we look at all of our strengths, we know that there's always ways to improve, and Ashley is going to talk about those.
I'm Ashley Fallon. I teach English at the high school. Okay, so the first area of growth is that the summative and formative assessments that we're using across the table. And specifically in the English department, we had benchmarks that we've been working on and revising, and we constantly are kind of revisiting what do we need to focus on, what do we need to come back to, actually in all the departments, and looking forward to actually getting back to those. A lot of those things in the last couple of years have been a little bit rough in terms of how are we going to implement these these things and in a new environment, especially digitally. Obviously, we can do a lot of things through Canvas that we weren't able to do before, so we're looking forward to kind of getting back to the focus of that work because I feel like it was really helpful. The second thing was connecting that standardized data, and specifically, I'm really enthused by this Renaissance program that we've been kind of coming back to this year in terms of every quarter they're taking a new benchmark to see where kids are at, and the information that we're going to get from that is going to be invaluable in moving kids forward and moving them up from red to yellow to green to blue, like getting them higher and higher, and seeing where kids are, because in one class you'll have kids who land in that red band and a bunch of kids who land in the green, but we have to work with all those kids, right? So we have to work, use that information to help us move forward. And then the last one, the collaboration time, our Monday late starts have been fabulous for that. It's been a little rough over the last couple of years, but I'm really looking forward to getting back to that. Specifically in the English department, we've spent a lot of time talking about research and how are we gonna, what do we need to do at all levels for research. So we've talked a lot with like the AP Capstone program and their research methods and kind of working back, because we also have a senior project. Juniors have a separate research project, sophomores, freshmen, like how can we build them to be responsible researchers moving forward and when they leave Glendora High School. So looking forward to getting back to that. So thank you. Next, I'm going to introduce Deborah Clune, Michelle Ashley, and Tom Cruise for School Culture and Sport.
Hi, I'm Tom Cruise, and I'm just an art teacher. We're talking about the safe and clean campus for students and staff. The couple things that we've implemented and we should be proud of is our standard response protocol that administration and staff have put into place. SRP, as the students and staff have gotten to know it, is signages all over around campus. The video that we have produced, I think Mr. Bronner might have been part of that, the producing, is a common thing shown in classrooms now. So in an event of emergency, God forbid something happens on campus, whether it's a toxic attack, bear on campus, or just a wandering person, we have the verbiage in place now that all teachers know, and that's a great thing to have over the last 3 to 5 years that we kind of have put into place. Couple quick little tidbits of information. Our attendance and discipline policies are pretty consistent across campus or across the spectrum, with input from our staff and administration. Anytime they feel like something doesn't look right discipline-wise, there's an open door policy that we're allowed to go and talk about it. So it's something to be proud of.
Michelle Ashley, I'm the counselor at Glendora High School. I'm going to be talking about the last 2 areas of strength for this area, which is the school culture and support. Number 2 is a focus on the whole student, providing a variety of opportunities for students to participate in the school community through extracurricular clubs and various academic opportunities. This area, I think, is probably one of the areas I'm most proud of at Glendora High School, and I feel like having just come from meeting with the 8th graders and sharing the information with 8th grade parents, this is something that you will hear from the counselors, the administration, the staff, is we want our kids to get involved. It's so important to have that sense of community by getting involved, and we have a lot of ways. It doesn't look the same for everybody. We have an extensive athletic program, and that's great for some of our students. For some of our students, that's not where their interest or their skills are. We have visual performing arts programs that are well-renowned. We have 40-plus clubs on campus, and that's probably a little on the lower end right now because of COVID. It's gone up. In normal years, we have 70-plus. We have academic opportunities, honors and AP courses, AP Capstone, dual enrollment, or the early college program, concurrent enrollment. There's so many different ways that our students can get involved, and part of the joy is really trying to find them and help them connect to those areas that are of their own interests. The last area is, of course, dear to my heart, which is student support and outreach for academic and emotional needs, which has always been very important, but wow, over the last 2 years, who knew what would happen in our world? And this has been, really shifted the focus, I think, on the mental health needs of our students, which also affects their academic needs as well. So many of our colleagues have already talked about some of the programs in place, tutorial, tutor.com, access to the teachers for academic support. We did shift this year with some of our positions on campus. We hired Dr. Courtney Corona as our student support, Dean of Student Support. We shifted Brittany Wooldridge from a 50% counselor to a 100% student support specialist position. Proud to say we opened and are running our wellness room, which started during the pandemic, but really expanded this year and got up and running in December, and it's being well used by students that just need an opportunity to take a break and recoup and get to a place where they can go back to class. Academically, we have, through the Tarleton University, numerous opportunities to provide parents and students with information about post-secondary plans, whether it be four-year colleges, trades, whatever it is that they are looking forward to. We also offer Tarleton University office hours through the counseling department, Wednesday evenings, Saturday mornings, where parents and students both have access to us, so they don't have to take time from their work or from their classes. They can book an appointment with us and access us outside of the classroom. So, of course, we have areas of strength, and as the need is huge, we're not done. We still want to focus on areas that we can continue to improve on, and Deb Clune will speak to those.
Good evening. Hi, I'm Deborah Clune. I have the honor of teaching an elective psychology class. I'm also the activities director. So some areas of growth that we have at the high school is we're always, always, always going to strive to make our campus more inclusive, a place where everyone belongs. Very, very important to me as well is I want every single student to know that they are wanted, cared for, and belong on our campus. So one of the things that ASB is really excited about is next year we're bringing back our Student Senate. It's a program that went away a few years ago, but this will give an opportunity for students to be involved in student leadership without having to add a class to their schedule. They'll get to represent their third period class. And so it offers an opportunity for about 75 other kids that represent from all of our, what we call homeroom class, a third period class. So we're really excited to bring that back next year and then have every single class represented in our monthly meetings and hear what they want to see moving forward as on our campus. We also want to explore further ways for our students who are struggling academically. You've heard many of the academic programs that we offer, BrainFuse and tutor.com, but when we talk about school culture and social emotional, the piece that we know is that kids, their academics is tied to that social emotional piece. So as we really focus on, which is our third area of growth, students and their mental health, as we take, I'm really hoping as we begin to work together and take this wellness center to the next level, how can we, give more kids access? What resources can we bring on campus to give to our students that support their mental health? Then we know as a staff that their academics are going to follow with that as well. So we're really excited. We have some amazing programs. I'm so fortunate to work with this amazing team. So thank you very much.
Yeah, how about our focus group leaders? Absolutely awesome. So the neat thing about the WASC self-study process is it aligns with our district goals and with LCAP. It makes it meaningful and it makes it powerful. Where we're at right now, as we've started this process over the last couple of years, is aligning ourselves with this vision of a post-secondary success for every student. That's always been there at Glendora High School, but what does it mean to give every single child a powerful future, an opportunity at that, and connecting our students is how we're going to do that. If we look at one piece of data that really stands out to us, it's that with the college and career indicator, we're currently reporting that we're 70.3% prepared, and that needs to increase a little bit. That part of the self-study process is opening yourselves up and saying, where can we get better? And as we look at this as, a driving force for our report, we know that we need to get better with our college and career readiness indicator. So we're going to talk a little bit more about that as we jump into our goals here in a second.
So where are we going? The fun begins on Sunday, this coming Sunday, with 6 educators from around Southern California who will come to our campus to visit and to validate our report. They are going to meet with parents, students, home groups, focus groups, our site administration, and district leadership. On Wednesday at lunch, they will present their findings to our staff and visitors and then submit their final report to the WASC organization. We will be notified within approximately 3 to 4 months of our term. Then the fun begins with the work beginning on our action plan. You can see from the graph that is up on this slide, we then shift from the right to the left. So we move away from the self-study and move into the implementation of our 2022 action plan. We will continue. The great thing about this process is it is continually evolving, and that action plan does not stay stagnant. That action plan is reviewed yearly, and those strategies become very fluid so that they are continually adjusting to our student data and any student needs that we may have. And next is Matt to talk about those specific action plans.
So in Chapter 4, there's 5 chapters, we're almost there. We have to identify major strengths and the major growth areas derived from Chapter 3, which our focus group leaders shared with us. And Mr. Hart did a great job explaining the technological revolution that took place here in the last couple of years, as we call it. What was once the obstacle became the way in Glendora Unified with the devices, the Wi-Fi. I remember last year, probably around this time, we were testing our Wi-Fi, and everybody was holding their breath as we were welcoming kids back, and it was a great success. So our technology has become a strength in the way we utilize it in our classrooms with EdTech and other tools. It's just, the data suggests that we're doing a really nice job with technology. So kudos to everybody with that. Safety. Now, we talked about perceptual data could always improve, right? We want every single kid to feel safe coming to school so they can learn at the highest level possible. Other data suggests that our school is very safe. When you look at potential crime data or discipline record, data based on our campus, Glendora High School is a very safe place to attend school, and so that's a strength that was identified. And then a priority, especially during the pandemic, that's gotten stronger at our site, is communication. And perceptual data certainly indicates that all of our students and staff and parents and other community members feel like they're very informed from the school, which is a really good thing. Looking at the major areas for growth, this is what really drives our action plan. So you're going to find that there's some similarities between Chapter 4 and Chapter 5, especially when it comes to the areas of growth. And essentially, these are the springboards for each goal we have. And we'll talk about the goals on the next slide in just a second. But first, we want every student to feel valued and connected to a plan at GHS so that every child has a powerful future. And that's common language with the district. You'll notice that. District goals. This is an emphasis on wellness. It's an emphasis on an individualized 4-year plan for every single student. We give every student a 4-year plan, but we want to take it a step further and look for tools and different ways we can better connect students to their goals and what their post-secondary goals might be. The second major student learner need is preparing every child with the necessary skill set to be college and career ready. We know we're doing a nice job of that, but there's many different indicators for college and career readiness. Some of them are hitting at a very high level, like AP test scores. Some of them we could hit at a different, maybe a potentially higher level, like connecting more kids to community college classes and things like that. So that's something we're looking at as well. And then major student learner need number 3, again, we want to continue to master content skills in core subject areas. That's not going to go away. That comes along with data analysis. That comes along with best practices in our late start meetings like we talked about with our focus groups. So all this is extrapolated from our focus group information, and it drives our goals, which we're going to talk about on the next slide for our action plan, Chapter 5. The word action shows up a lot in this report, not to be confused with our SLOs. This is what everybody does, is the action plan. This is what drives us, and for those maybe more inclined to the private sector, this is almost like a strategic plan for a business. So it comes with the goal itself, it comes with metrics, how we're going to measure the goal, and it comes with strategies. And the first goal talks about fostering a healthy learning environment, which comes with safety, which comes with wellness, and comes with this idea of connecting students to what they might be interested in, to a plan that's closely monitored so that they can be achieving their goals in the post-secondary once they leave Glendora High School. And metrics that come with that are graduation rate, safety data, student connectedness data, attendance and discipline data. There's a lot. And strategies with that, is the hiring of our new Dean of Student Support. She's getting a lot of shout-outs tonight. Good job, Courtney. Student support specialists, MTSS practices, restorative practices, course-based student support. So this idea of student support to equip our students to be really successful post-secondary, it's a foundation that's been at Glendora High School, but we want to take it a step further. Action plan goal number 2 kind of goes back to the idea of college and career readiness at a whole different level. Again, we're doing an okay job. We could do a whole lot better. And we have a plan to connect our students that we talked about from goal 1, kind of connects to goal 2, connecting them, but also equipping them with the courses that they're taking, whether it be a new CTE pathway or getting more kids through recruitment practices, looking at local job market analyses to make sure that our students are taking relevant courses and they're preparing themselves for the workforce. We want our kids to be prepared. If they want to go to college for 4 years, that's great. But we also want to make sure they're prepared. If they want to jump into the workforce right after high school, maybe they're getting hired right out of the place they're doing their intern hours at from a CTE pathway, and of course military ready if that's what they'd like to do as well. Again, relevant data like our college and career indicator, A through G data, CTE pathway completion data, and other pieces of information that are really helpful will help guide us with this goal as we look forward to moving forward with it. And then finally, action plan goal number 3, aligning curriculum, assessment, and data analysis in core content areas. We're looking at how we're using common assessments, data analysis, sharing best practices, systemizing and aligning grading practices. Grading can be kind of subjective, we know that, and making sure that our grading is research-based and it's good for kids. And that's part of it. And then we're looking at metrics like STAR data. We have those quarterly benchmarks we've launched this year. SBAC, our DNF rate, just to name a few. But we're data rich, and we're going to become even more data rich through this process, and we're excited about it. So with that said, I want to thank our team again over here for being here tonight and stepping up. And we're launching into next week for our big visit. Thank you. And we'll take questions or comments at this time.
That was amazing. Thank you so much. I know. I'm excited to see where this goes. Mrs. Reuter, do you have comments?
First, I'd like to thank everybody for coming tonight. I can speak for myself, but I actually think I can speak on behalf of the whole board. We really like to hear from teachers and staff, like directly from you all. Not that we don't trust the bobbleheads at the top, no. But we really do like hearing from directly from our teachers and staff and understanding what they're seeing and hearing and feeling in the classroom. My feedback is you all are very confident in this presentation. You come off, you absolutely know what you're talking about, and I look forward to getting into some of the, I get to take this with me, right?
Yep, sure.
Okay, great. And getting into some of the more details. I'm very excited about the details. The executive summary that was provided here today was thorough, comprehensive. I'm very excited to hear. I am, just like Mrs. Merkley said, very excited to hear this presentation. Clearly you put a lot of time into it. Probably had to do a bit of a pivot when you came back from COVID, what might have been your goals, what might have been the way that you were thinking about moving forward with your students. Maybe wasn't quite as relevant as it is now. It's that sort of fresh start, if you will, that I mentioned in my board comments, which means you probably had to really double down on your work to make some changes as far as this is concerned. So I thank you for, and I guess we can look at it as a gift. We'll find the silver lining. I thank you for reconsidering what might look different now that we're back after having been gone for a period of time, and what the social emotional impacts of having been gone does to everything else, as many of you all mentioned. I think that self-study is really awesome, and you all took a really long, hard look at that, and that's obvious through this presentation. So I will look forward to getting in the weeds and moving to that left side of the circle as far as the action or whatever I'm sorry, I don't remember all the correct terminology is concerned, but really and sincerely, very well done, all of you. Thank you very much.
Ms. Board.
I too express my thanks. Sorry, I'm fighting a cold. So I just want to thank you for exposing the areas of need, because that takes a lot of courage too, because we want to think we're great, and we are, but there's always room for growth, and I appreciate that honest and forthcoming of all those goals that you have and the areas for improvement. And I have to echo your sentiments about technology. If there's anything that came out of COVID, we were forced. I mean, we were forced to get those out to teachers, the laptops, the Chromebooks to students, your Wi-Fi running at the district or at the high school. Honestly, really, that's, there's some positives. I think, if you look at how does it go? Out of every good crisis comes opportunity. So I think you've done that. You've taken the crisis and made opportunities out of it, and I thank you as well. I'll see you Sunday.
Yes.
Yes. Dr. Fernando.
Well, it's good to meet some of you. I know some of you as somebody's mother, so it's actually nice to meet the mother. And I've also heard some of your voices in my house over the last year when we were in remote learning. And I think somebody's working on a heart essay as I'm here in this meeting. One question I had, because I know that higher education may be a little different, but typically WASC site visit teams come with, or they ask you, or they send you what they call, I don't know what's called in public schools, lines of inquiry. So like before they come to the visit, they've already told you the kinds of things they're going to be asking. Is that true for this process as well?
Not so much for this process at the high school level. Sometimes there'll be informal conversations between myself and the visiting committee chair. So there's been some side conversations on that, but nothing formal.
So when the structure of their visit is based on what? Like when they want to meet with different types of people, you talked about parents, you talked about teachers. Is that just general meetings that they set up, so there's no targeted kind of questions that they're asking those stakeholders?
Yeah, so once they read the report, I think they want to validate what's in the report by talking to all of our stakeholders. So we have a visitation schedule that they're going to follow. The first day they get there, I'm not going to go through the whole thing, I promise, but the first day they get there, the first group they're going to meet with after they meet our whole team is they're going to meet with the parents, and they'll ask them questions. Miss Edwards actually been on a visit as a community member herself, and she could tell you they ask questions just to kind of validate what we say is happening at the school. Like parents believe there's great communication. What do you guys think about the communication at Glendora High School with parents? Those sorts of things.
And 6 years is the maximum?
Yeah, so 6 years, and typically they'll come with a 3-year 1-day visit with that, or a 2-day visit. Even sometimes they'll come in back for 2 days after 3 years just to validate you're doing what you said you're going to do. That's very common. A 6 clear is not so common anymore. Right. Typically it's a 6-2 or a 6-1, as we call it.
Yeah. So I think as community members, people in Glendora, this is probably very, what are we talking about here, right? And for those people that are watching, this is fundamentally important to the quality of education. As was said at the beginning, the quality of somebody's graduation certificate or diploma is based on the work that's done here. So I think just for the public to understand that all those 4 years, or all those 12 years, basically, you go through the Glendora Unified School District, right? In this case, it's the high school, right? The quality and the value of your diploma is based on the work that's being done here. So sometimes I think the public doesn't understand, like, what does accreditation mean? It fundamentally means how valuable your education is, and are you actually assessing what you're saying you're going to assess, and are you actually finding out what you're indicating your students are actually learning? So fundamentally, it's important to ensure that we are providing quality education for your students. So thank you for the excellent work. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much. As I listen to what you've said, I realize how much work goes into it. And I think without the self-study, that you would not grow. And so being able to acknowledge that there are areas of growth is such a good thing, because then you can say, oh, because if you don't acknowledge that, then you never change. And so I just appreciate all the work that you have done. Thank you so much.
Quick photo of all of you.
Yeah. Oh, yes.
And thank you all for hanging in there. I know
Yes.
you'd probably like to be home.
You can stay for the financial report that's coming next. It's so much fun.
It's only an hour. You're good? Are you good?
Nothing personal. The batch.
It's not personal. I'm looking forward to it.
I know you are.
Thank you all again so much.
Thank you. Well done.
Thank you. And we will see you Sunday. Woo!
So we've got a great Ross coach over here. For sure. That's ready for you. Come on. Jeanette. Okay.
I don't know if anybody else wants to have it. That time change thing is really. Okay. Okay, we're back.
Wait, no, Dominic's there.
Oh.
We need a minute.
I lied. As I've told every single Yeah. Okay, we are back. Now we'd like to, Mrs. Vicar and Mrs. Walzak are going to report on the exciting second interim.
Not only is it exciting, but it's like really important because it's really the conversation about how we can help support the educational system right here in Glendora. And so this evening before you, we're going to be looking at some really exciting information before you. We're going to be looking at the adjustments for our current year for the 21-22 budget. Before you is 149 pages of riveting information. You may want to pay close attention to page 2. It's kind of the Reader's Digest version. Also looking at that, we're going to be looking at our average daily attendance and our enrollment trends. That's a piece that we look at. We look at revenues, expenditures, and the change to our fund balances. We look at the multi-year financial projections. That really helps drive our conversation for what our new budget will look like. We look at some state criteria and standards. We're looking at the actual projected cash flows and what does that mean for our district. And we look at assumptions as we prepare for the 22 and 23 budget. Those are all really important. Also, before you this evening, we also gave you some information with regards to our COVID-19, our one-time funds, and the impact that's actually had on our budget, especially as we look at the unrestricted and restricted balances and how we help support the system and how we move forward, especially when we're in declining enrollment.
Tracy. Good evening, Board of Trustees, Dr. DeLeon, and Cabinet members. Thanks for having us to talk about the second interim. So we're back here again, so this time it's for the second interim. So we have 3 financial reporting periods. We have the first interim, which is from July 1st to October 31st. Second interim is from July 1st through January 31st, which is what we're addressing tonight. And then we have the unaudited actuals, which is for the entire fiscal year, and that takes place in September. Thanks. So for the second interim, we're reporting the actual financial results from July through January, and then projecting out the rest of the year. We make some adjustments based on what actually happened. For example, if we have some attrition or whatnot, then we kind of consider that, take that out of the budget. If we have expenditures that have gone up, for example, for this period, we had to adjust some of our expenditures, such as the water, utilities have gone up significantly, so we had to make adjustments for those. One of the other adjustments we did was we had gotten a rebate from one of our insurance, so they estimated our insurance to be a little over $725, but they gave us a rebate of $115, so we'll take that, right? So it helps us determine the fiscal viability of the district. Some of the other adjustment, like Tracy mentioned earlier, the COVID-19 revenues and expenditures. So we have, because of the restricted in nature, so we definitely want to spend those down because of the deadlines that they impose on us. So as much as possible, spend those funds down, and then the rest can be unrestricted. So salaries and benefits, for example, we hired the support specialist, so that's coming out of the COVID funds, as well as the interventionists, and they're really related to support the students because of the COVID-19 pandemic. And like I mentioned earlier, we updated some of our expenditures. Some of the assumptions for the second interim is our ADA. That's been a big topic because we have been hold harmless for the last 2 years. So from 2019, 2020, then 2021, then 21-22, we have been using the ADA from 1920, so that's 3 years. So at that time, our ADA was $6,905, so that's what we were being funded. So after we submitted our P1 for this 21-22, which was from our attendance from August through December, for 4 months, our P1, we were at 6,333. So that's a big decline. So we updated our 22-23 and 23-24 projection to reflect the decline in enrollment. And I think we talked about this before. We were talking about the big cliff dive that was going to be happening in the 22-23 school year. One of the positive things is the unduplicated pupil count. For the past many, many years, we've always been steady at about 31%. That's been a rolling average. And this year, because of the direct certification related to nutrition services, our unduplicated pupil count actually went up from 2175 to 2971. So we were going from our 3-year rolling average from 31% to 22-23, it's 35, and then 23-24 is about 45%. So that's definitely a big deal, because as far as our supplemental money are concerned, so we're going from about 3.2, and with the increase in unduplicated, it gave us about almost $2 million in additional supplemental. So again, COLA's 5.07, and we did not update our LCFF from the adopted budget. Our unrestricted general fund, so our projected income at the first interim was $1,704,461, and in second interim, after our adjustment, we increased by a little bit, so our change is $175,890. As far as our unrestricted general fund balance, so we have the required 3%, which is $2.5 million. We have the projected assigned reserve, which is 6.2, and in that 6.2, we have the $2 million textbook adoption that we've been carrying over because we haven't done that yet. And then we also have in there the additional 3% that the board imposed regarding the 3% additional reserve, so that's also in there. And then the reserve exceeding the balance is the $6.5 million, basically unrestricted. And then our total unrestricted general fund balance is $15,295,945. On the general fund revenue, so we're basically just comparing what was the original budget, the first interim, second interim, and then the change from the original budget. As far as our LCFF, no change in that between the original, the first, and the second. And then other state revenue, there's an increase of $4.4 million. That included the adjustment that we did for the the educator effectiveness grants. So that's about $1.5 million. And then there's also another grant called the ELOP, which is the Expanded Learning Opportunities Program, and that's completely separate from our ELO grant. And that's more related to our unduplicated pupil count related to before TK through 6. So that there should be a presentation coming for that. But I think we need to take it to the board by April, I believe. And then along with that is I think those are the two major things that we adjusted for. And then our local revenue also increased, and so we have a total increase, change from the original budget of about $8.2 million. And a lot of that too, in the $8 million, are some of the COVID funds, because we don't recognize the revenue when we're told, okay, you're going to get this. So we recognize there's different things. So for the federal, we can only recognize it once we've either expended it or receive the money, but for state, we can recognize it once we know that it's probable or more likely that it will be given to us. So general fund expenditures, again, there were some adjustments out of all the major items. There's certificated, classified, benefits, but in total, I can't even see that. The general fund expenditures increased by $2.4 million between the original budget and the second interim. And in the general ending fund balance, we broke it down between the cash in stores, the assigned, the restricted, the reserve for economic, and the unappropriated fund balance. So just from 2019 to 2020, our general ending fund balance was 12.1, and in 2020-21 it went to 20.7, and then the 26.326 was the 21-22 first interim. Tracy, and I'll turn it over to Tracy.
All right. So looking at the governor's January proposed budget, at this point it's just a proposed budget, but it lets us build our assumptions as we start working on our new 22-23 budget. And so that's going to be important. It'll be revised again in May by the governor, and the legislature actually has final approval of that budget and gives us another chance to come back and actually do some revisions as well. We're going to be looking at an increase in Prop 98 guarantee, and the increase to the COLA right now is projected at 5.33%, although we're hearing it may go up even higher once we hear the May revise. So we're going to be paying close attention to that. And looking at 23-24, their estimate will be at 3.61%. Again, that's important because we look at multiple year projections when we do our budget adoption, and that's kind of the money that we have over the next couple of years as we look at 3 years moving out. And then there's a huge cost to rise in both the STRS and the PERS cost. And as you know, the majority of our budget for our unrestricted is really towards salaries, health and welfare benefits for our employees. It's a piece that we really value, and I think that was actually mentioned this evening in our WASP report. We value people. We value the people that take care of our kids, the educational services that they provide, and their willingness to be able to make sure that things and possibilities happen for our students. That's really where we put the majority of our money at. There's a small percentage that really goes towards the equipment and keeping our schools operational, and that part is much smaller than what the actual capital investment is in people. So it's something to kind of keep in mind. We'll start looking at multiple year projections and what does that mean, and looking forward to that. So part of our ADA continues to look at some declines in enrollment, and that's actually going to have a hurt to us. There's going to be a resolution you'll be taking for the next action here, which is going to be an important one because it actually might bring us some additional stability. And then as we start to come out over the next couple of years, I really think we're going to go up as a universal TK. We're going to see some additional people coming back into our district, and so we're going to try through some of our strategies with staff reductions that are happening through attrition. We want to try to stay away from doing any kind of layoffs. And really try to capitalize on those that are retiring, celebrate their retirement, but maybe not be able to replace some of those folks back in the classroom, and just kind of staying hold and being very careful with our monies over the next couple of years. And when that universal TK comes in, hopefully it will allow us to start growing again. And as we bring in some additional exciting programs to Glendora, we believe that will help attract families to come about the multi-year projections.
So we just basically, on the next slide, we wanted to just illustrate what the P2 or our ADA has looked like. So as we can see, from 2008 and 2009, we were at 7,111. That's the ADA. And then where we are right now is, where we are right now, 21-22, even though we're being funded at the 6906, our actual ADA is 6,333, and our enrollment is about at 6,700 right now. So, like Tracy had said earlier, we're definitely, looking at it really closely and trying to, to have, as far as our projection goes, so that way our projection is more accurate for the 2 out years.
And if you look at 2016-17, you can start to see that trend go downward. Press down, and so we really need to just tighten our belts a little bit as we move forward.
If I might, just for the sake of everyone's understanding, it's my understanding, I didn't move here until 2013-14, but that we had been actually in declining enrollment before this little graphic starts here, 2008, 2009, but that would have been when the recession hit and the District of Choice program was implemented. So we experienced a bump in our ADA as benefited from, we were benefited by the District of Choice program, where we were able to have students come and join us from other districts. However, that District of Choice program has a, I don't have the right word, a hard cap, meaning it's not like a one out, one back in. Once we reach a certain percentage from a school district, we are shut off from that school district. So essentially it's a just dwindling program. Once we've reached our percentage caps from those districts, we're done. So we don't get any benefit, although I do understand that maybe there's some legislation that might be coming down the pike as far as readdressing District of Choice, but that is reflected in these numbers. Yeah?
Yes,
okay.
Correct. And the other piece that's really reflecting these numbers is in 2013-14 is when the LCFF came in. Right, that changed how our funding formula worked and how we're able to receive our monies moving forward.
So looking at these, thanks. Looking at the projections, so I want to ask a question, and hopefully you hear the spirit of the question, not the actual question. Did the fact that we had COVID over the last 2 years change the timeline of the cliff that we would have otherwise had at this district? Would the cliff have happened much more significantly over the last 3 or 4 years, or last 2 years, and we were actually able to pause on that cliff because of being held harmless?
Yes.
Okay. So that's something the public needs to understand, that the district basically was not held, in some respects, accountable for the actual enrollment that was occurring at our schools, right? And I think that while there's some, obviously massive challenges that had happened with COVID, one of the things that did provide us is it provided us with a lot of extra dollars
Absolutely.
that we didn't expect.
Absolutely.
And the decline shifted a couple years, because when I came onto this board in 2017, 21, 22, and 2017 looked a whole lot different.
Right.
So we just have to put that in context as we look at those numbers. Thank you.
Dr. Fernando. So in the multi-year projection, we also have the STIRS and PERS rate increases, which continually is increasing. And then also with the inflation, we also include the step in column increases for both certificated and classified salaries. Again, we talked about the enrollment in ADA just a little while ago. And then as far as negotiations for 22-23, it's still ongoing. The next table or chart, we want to just illustrate the rates for STIRS and PERS and how much it has increased. And it's definitely, especially for PERS, it's definitely, a big chunk of our budget. So we've gone from back in 2008, 2009, PERS and STIRS were very close. STIRS was 8.25, and then PERS was 9.428. And now we're looking at 21-22, we have 16.92 and 22.91. And for next year, PERS increased by quite a bit to 26.1%. So that's a big jump.
And I think I asked this during the first interim, but I can't, there's no cap on that. The state has put no cap on the rate. Is that correct?
That's correct.
There's not a are we sure there's no maximum level off rate?
No, there isn't. They actually look at what the contributions are, and what those retirement elements would be when people do retire, right? So the earlier that you retire, or the benefit of being able to retire as a younger person actually could have a huge offset. So we're law enforcement. It actually has an encroachment now onto the PERS account. Along with those that retire at 55, and when you look at the longevity, they kind of need to take into account. So, maybe 20 years ago, it didn't seem like it was a problem when they went off and they lowered those thresholds. Yes.
Listen, I have no problem.
I think the pain's kind of been sitting out there for like the last 10 years. We've watched escalate in numbers. All right, with that, if we can move to the next slide. One of the things that we wanted to share with you is looking at our COVID-19 funding. And although it's not one of the requirements within the second interim, we felt it was important to at least go back and kind of review where we're spending some big monies at. We can come back later on with another more detailed report beyond this, although this is a pretty good report that will give you a real glimpse as to how these funds are being spent and how it supports our students. We've been using them for our technology, our Chromebook one-to-one initiative, hotspots, helping with increasing technology equipment at all of our school sites and here at the district office as well. Adding software, very important programs such as Canvas, Zoom, subscriptions with Edgenuity, things that really help our students and help our teachers be able to provide the curriculum support systems that they need. And then the additional staffing costs related to training, extra cleaning, preparation, and planning and distance learning. Some other funds that we used were for Paper Education, which is an online chat tutoring service, and we did this for grades K through 8, so that when the teacher wasn't available in the evenings and parents still had questions and needed support systems, they have access to another tutoring system online. That's a new initiative for this year, and it will be moving forward for next year as well to be able to help support our families. Additional costs are related to health and welfare services provided to our students, after-school tutoring, expanded summer schools at all grade levels from 2021 through 2023. So we've actually budgeted those out, knowing that there's learning loss and things that are happening out there. The amount of personal protective equipment known as PPE, including our isolation rooms, health supplies, supplies that are necessary to be able to clean the classrooms, and all the equipment surrounding the school sites. Easy Ups intervention for our teachers for grades 5, the support specialists at all grade levels that we've brought in. And these are really important elements. We've also looked at how do we provide physical distancing at sites as we were navigating through this. Of course, that's kind of changing, and it's nice to see some barriers come down and kids be able to interact with their teachers for better services. We also needed supplies for our nutrition department, right, to be able to help them serve the number of meals that they were doing and the increased number of meals that we provided to our families here at Glendora. We looked also at the daycare staffing costs, and one of the brave decisions I think that the board made prior to my coming was to be able to keep the daycare program operational, but there was a cost to that. And we were able to use COVID-19 funds to help support that and offset that so that essential workers had access to quality daycare programming. We looked at remote learning for students who chose not to return in person, and that was our new goal program. And then we also added a safety compliance officer who's really out there helping support our employees as they transition back into the workplace with support systems that they might need, just because of special services that maybe them or their families are actually experiencing. And then we actually did a little pie chart here for you. So we wanted to be able to show you really where the big buckets of money were really spent. The first was really in our materials and supplies. We spent a little over $4 million in that category. We looked at certificated salaries, which so far we've spent a little over $2 million, about 20% of the budget. Then classified salaries are about 12.5%. And then we looked at contracted services at about 11%. There's still more money yet to spend over the next couple of years, and that's important because those are actually restricted dollars, and so for funds that we really can't do or for one-time funding support systems that we need, is really going to help carry us forward as we protect our unrestricted accounts, the general fund. And then with that, Jeanette, you want to talk about the required disclosures?
Sure. So the next one is just a required disclosure, the projected unrestricted fund balance. The minimum required by the state is $2.5 million for 21-22, and then we projected it out for 22-23 and 23-24, and then the projected assigned reserve balance, which we talked about earlier as well, and then for 22-23 and 23-24, it went down by about a couple of million, and that's assuming that for 22-23 that we would related to the textbook adoption. And then the reserves for exceeding the reserve for economic is 6.5 million, 6.4 and 7.2, and then our total projected general fund ending balance is 15.2 for 21-22, for 22-23 is 13.2 million, and then for 23-24 is 13.8 million. and then the unrestricted fund balance for the 3-year projection. So we have our income for 21-22 second interim at 1.8, which is basically our fund balance percent is 18.15% for 21-22, and then 22-23 15.38, and then 23-24 is 14.93. So I just want to notate for the out years 22-23 and 23-24 that we are at a deficit spending. So that's just something to think about. And part of that is, what we saw earlier, the ADA but at the same time with the additional supplemental because of our increase in unduplicated pupil count. But we are still at a deficit spending in the next couple of years.
So most importantly, the district's able to report a positive second interim report, and this evening before you, we ask that you adopt that second interim report so that we can send it off to LACO and show that we have done our due diligence in ensuring that we are tracking our monies and our expenditures, and that we are able to have a positive for the remaining of the school year. Are there questions that
Thank you. We probably should have had a motion. We didn't do a motion. Sorry. I need a motion to approve. I need a motion to approve the second interim report for 2021-2022 as presented.
So moved.
Second.
So Dr. Fernando moved, Mrs. Reuter seconded. And now we can ask questions.
I do have a question. Thank you very much for this. This is all very thorough, and it's not the first time that we've actually heard this data. This is just a second report out this way, but I think very important, as we've all been sort of jokingly saying all night. This report is very important for the community to understand some of the challenges that we faced and opportunities. The unduplicated pupil count is not anything I imagine that we would be recapturing. So this is important information. The commitment to unique programs at our sites to try and bring students back, goal for that matter, to bring some students back that might have been homeschooling on their own, trying to figure out every way we possibly can to offset the average daily attendance cliff that we are about to drop off. I do appreciate, though I also understand that the COVID numbers are not part of this report. They were not required as far as what you have to submit for approval that way. But I really do think, it's a lot of money. $18 million is a lot of money for us. Close to 20% or so of our normal annual budget is in those COVID numbers, and being transparent about what those numbers are, all of the different ESSER 1, ESSER 2, ESSER 3 gear. There's a lot of different funds here, and having the amount that is stated in those funds, or that we've been received in those funds, and then also their expenditure deadline is, I think, really important for the community to understand. I really appreciate the time that you took to say what those dollars went towards under the COVID funding uses, and especially this COVID funding expenditure pie chart is very helpful to understand where these COVID dollars are going. I will ask, if I might, over time, as I know you're keeping track of every purchase and expenditure and where it goes in, as far as which fund, which allocation it came from or goes into, also recognizing that one item might go across 3 different funds depending on the year. It may be a multi-year subscription to something, so you're having it go into 3 different funds that way. It's complicated. It's a lot of paperwork, so I appreciate this general overview, but I also would say that as that data is collected and put into a spreadsheet somewhere that we can make it available to the public for transparency's sake this way. It is a lot of money that we have done a lot of really good things with, and I just want to be transparent with the public that way. So that's my only feedback right now. Thank you.
We agree with you. We think that transparency piece is extremely important. That was really the whole reason behind doing the pie chart, looking at where the overall expenditures were. I think something as we move forward, and maybe it's something that happens probably with every single district, right, is sometimes we're out there spending money from our general fund before we even receive the monies back in for some of these things. So in anticipation that was coming, then we had to go off and we had to go to the forensics piece behind it and actually move those expenditures into the appropriate category. And we'll still continue doing that. Sometimes you'll spend it underneath one section, but then you have to move it to the appropriate as you sit there and do that forensic analysis. To move the purchases that are necessary very, very quickly. And then also, it's a training piece too that also comes also. You have to understand those.
That was good context that Jeanette provided as far as federal dollars, and you don't count on those until they hit your bank account versus state dollars that are promised that way. And that's exactly what you're talking about. You're promised this money, so you go ahead and you spend it out of our general fund budget. But it isn't until that you receive it that you can actually sort of move it over in a column, for lack of a better description, to the appropriate COVID fund category that way. So I really do appreciate, it's complicated. It's not just so straightforward that we bought, 3,000 laptops or 6,000 laptops and that, there's a lot that went into this.
In some cases,
especially with people also, salaries, et cetera. That's
absolutely. And in some cases, you're actually having to go back and go bill for some of the items that we went off and paid for in advance. So there's been a billing element that's come with it. I want to just tell you that we are so fortunate to have an executive director that has the experience, truly, and the ability to be able to help us navigate this. And so I just really want to thank Ms. Walzak for all of her work that she's done on making sure that our district is in really great financial.
Any other questions?
I want to be careful because we've been going on for a long time. But so one question the public may ask, right? We had drive-throughs to pick up, COVID testing packets. Where did that money come from? I'm assuming it came from the $4.6 million of materials and supplies.
Actually, we have another grant from LACO. It's called the ELC grant. Okay. And what the ELC grant does is basically they fund the testing, the COVID testing. So what we had to do is we had to write a plan, like what we plan to do. For example, we used to use Little Star. We're using this, and then the big thing that came out just a few months ago was the home kits. So in order to get reimbursed for the home kits, we had to make sure it's approved, FDA approved and whatnot. And we have like a office hours call with LACO on a weekly basis to talk about what the requirements are. So for example, in order to get reimbursed for the cost of the COVID test kits, I have to report like very detailed. Right. Who is it given out to? Not the names, but like by a number. Are they student? Are they staff? When did you provide it to them? Yes. And they also want to know how many, not who, but how many people tested positive. So that's done on a weekly basis. And then on a monthly basis, I also do a financial statement that kind of says, okay, this is what we've spent. And so but basically none of the COVID test kits are not through this, but through another grant with LACO. Okay. I hope that answers your question.
No, I'm sure those office hours are riveting. But I think why I asked the question is that people in the public do not understand sometimes that money that the district receives just can't be spent, right? This is a basic difference. It's not like a checking account, right? So you have pots of money that are restricted versus unrestricted. And I think so when a community member can sort of says they're getting all this money, why can't we improve the facilities of the high school, for example? Well, that's not because we can't do that because the money we're receiving related to this doesn't apply. So I think we have to continue to communicate, number one, and educate our public. that not all money can be used for the kinds of things that are going to be seen by the public, right? The amount of hours that you spend in doing that, right, obviously was well rewarded because we were one of the first, I think the first, in the East San Gabriel Valley that was passing out testing kits, right? But to do that, you had to spend hours and hours of that data entry work, right? So I think the public needs to understand that cost-benefit analysis, but also that how we spend our money here at the district isn't just open season, right? There's very specific ways of engaging it. So thank you for that. That's it.
And that we didn't make money
And we
by
didn't make
administering
money.
those
Yes.
tests.
Oh, no. Yes.
Yeah, that was no.
Well, the amount of time that she spent probably.
Yeah.
Receive an incentive.
Right, no
Yes.
incentive.
Or anything else for doing that.
Ms. Board? Yeah.
Just a thank you, a huge thank you.
Okay. I just have one question, and it has to do with nutrition services. You know, we provide meals for every student. How is that funded?
So that's because right now we have it's called the universal meal plan. So everybody, every student, even if they're not a student here at the district, they can get free breakfast and lunch, and that's it's being funded by the federal, which has done really great because the reimbursement rate is actually really good. And prior to this, our nutrition services fund was almost, you're nodding, so yes, we were in the hole, but now coming, for 21-22, we're projecting a fairly good fund balance to end the year, so. We're encroached by about 300.
Oh! It was more than that.
So, yes.
We've done a really good job, I think, trying to turn that around and making sure that there's really good.
Thank you so much. Okay, we've had a motion to approve, and we've had a second, so let's, vote. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
None approved? Okay, we have approved the second interim report.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you
Okay, next is
Resolution.
the resolution. I keep wanting to grab the thing. We need a motion to approve or ratify resolution number, I can barely see it on my eyes, number 21/22-09 in support of AB 830, Portantino, enrollment-based funding bill for K-12 schools. May I have a motion, please?
With pleasure, I move to approve, ratify this resolution.
Second.
Thank you. It's been approved by Mrs. Reuter and seconded by Dr. Fernando. Do we need to read it or discuss it? We already talked about it.
Can you give a summary?
Yes.
Yeah.
Be happy to give a summary. So, actually, I think it's SB 830, Portantino, is a bill to change our funding from ADA-based, meaning based on our average daily attendance, which is always less than our enrollment, to enrollment-based funding. This is something that school districts have been asking for a very, very long time, because the reality is that we pay for staffing, supplies, materials, facilities, maintenance, et cetera, regardless of whether the child comes to school. Now, we understand that there, for many, many years, was a feeling that the incentive on ADA was that districts will really work on attendance if that's how they are funded. Okay, but the reality is that we have things to pay for whether every child is in their seat every day or not. And of course, we do many, many things to address chronic absenteeism. We are very, very fortunate in Glendora Unified School District. We have high ADA as compared to other districts. So, I mean, and obviously we want students in there. You don't have to, as a superintendent or as a school board or as staff, you don't have to incentivize us trying to get kids in their seats, because that's how they learn. We're going to try to get kids in their seats no matter what. So this is a nice shift. For districts that have a lower ADA, they're going to get a really large bump. We will get a nice bump in our funding from this. It'll be great. This is a great first step. Many thanks to Senator Portantino for this. When we send this back, I'll write a nice thank you note on behalf of the board for bringing this. This is the first step. I would also like us to support a resolution to raise the base and be part of the Raise the Base program in the state of California. So yeah, oh, you see that? We need to raise the base. Yes, the districts have received funding and increased funding during COVID and pandemic, and I know the governor often talks about the budget surplus and high COLA and all those many things. Really, the problem is that in public education, we continuously get increased funding in the form of one-time monies, which means that we can't hire the necessary staff we need to perform the function that the money's meant for. So it's a real problem. It has been for a long time, and we are just begging them to please put it in the base and stop putting it in one-time funds. We're not going to say no to one-time funding, but we really just rather have more money in the base. So in any case, that's what this is in a nutshell. I would appreciate the board supporting this resolution to increase funding for Glendora Unified School District.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, we have approved the resolution. Consent items, we can consider items as a whole as individual divisions. I have personnel services. Consent items, I need to add an addition with
an addendum.
End of temporary assignment, Milda Muir from 6/10/22. She's a certificated staff at GHS. So may I have a motion to?
I move that we approve all consent items, including the amendment to the agenda.
Thank you.
Was it aye?
Yeah. Good.
That's it, I'm done.
It's been moved by Ms. Tudor, seconded by Dr. Fernando. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Anybody want to move for adjournment? Dr.
I second it.
Ms. Borg seconded.